Hey YouTube, welcome to Computers with Kelly. Hey everyone, today I've decided to talk about Windows Vista. Now I know most of you have heard about Vista and all this problems it's been having. To start off, let's take a quick look at Windows XP operating system and why XP seems so much better than Vista. Windows XP requires a 300 MHz processor or higher, 128 MB of RAM or higher, 1.5 GB of available hard drive space, and a CD or DVD drive. While we're at it, why don't we take a look at Windows Vista and system requirements. Windows Vista requires 1 GHz processor, 1 GB of system memory, 15 gigs of available hard drive space, and 128 MB video card. Just for a little info here, the requirements I just showed you are the minimal system requirements that your operating system needs to run. For better performance, you might upgrade some of these features. I'll explain that a little bit later on here in the movie. I've noticed most of you guys' complaints with Windows Vista is that it takes forever to boot up and programs that you already have don't seem to work with it. Here's a chart that compares Windows XP with Windows Vista and what are the differences between it and why certain things don't work and it takes forever to boot up. Now let's compare the two. Windows XP requires 300 MHz processor or higher. Windows Vista requires 1 GHz processor or higher. Windows XP requires 128 MB of RAM, where Windows Vista requires 1 GB of system memory. Windows XP requires 1.5 GB of available hard drive space, with usually around 10-20 GB of available hard drive space, where Vista requires a 40 GB hard drive and at least 15 GB of available hard drive space for installation. Windows XP requires a 128 MB graphic card or higher. Windows Vista requires 128 minimal, 256 recommended or higher. Both of them require CD or DVD drive. Both of them require audio for extra features. Here's a quick breakdown of the Windows Vista versus Windows XP. Here we can see that Windows Vista requires 700 MHz more processor speed than Windows XP. It also requires 896 MB more memory than XP and 13.5 GB more hard drive space than XP. Okay, now that we know a little bit of the system requirements, we can now go and explain why Windows Vista takes forever to boot up and why some programs are compatible with it. Let's start with why Windows Vista takes forever to boot up. The main reason I've been noticing with Windows Vista is that it doesn't have enough system requirements. A standard computer comes with roughly 1.5 to 2 GHz processor and a gig of memory. For Vista to be happy, it needs at least a 2 GHz processor and 2 gigs of memory. On my computer, I'm running a 2.18 GHz processor dual core and 2 gigs of dual core memory. That helps tremendously compared to other computers that are running the minimal system requirements. Okay, now for the aggravating part, the incompatibility or program just flat out not running. The biggest problem there I found out is that it's not set up to run Vista. Here we see Halo 1 system requirements. It says minimal system requirements 703 MHz. We're good on that one. 128 MB of RAM. Got more than enough there. 1.2 GB of hard drive space. Good there. Got a CD-ROM drive. Now here's where the problem comes in. Windows 98, SE, ME, XP, or 2000. It never says anything about Windows Vista. This is where the problem is. It has to say Vista. If it doesn't say Vista, you're at a 50-50 chance of it working and not working. And the next video game I'll show you actually has the Vista requirements on it. Okay, here we have another game that's 2.4 gigahertz processor. Good there once again. And here's where it is. It says Microsoft Windows Vista or Windows XP with Service Pack 2. This game is actually designed and based for Windows Vista. This has been tested by Microsoft, stating that it'll work. If it doesn't work, you can call them and they will fix the problem or give you a patch to fix the problem. These patches work 90% of the time. I've only had one that hadn't worked in a long time. On this one, it requires 1 gig of memory. If you're running Windows Vista, like we said, it requires 1.5, recommended 2. This would work just fine because Windows Vista doesn't require 2 gigs all the time. It's just recommended for best performance, and that also gives you allowance for other programs. 12 gigabyte hard drive, we're good there. Video card, that one you're going to have to figure out. I'll explain that in a later video, how to check what type of video card you have and where you can get the product stats on that. Well, now that you know a little bit about Vista and Windows XP and why Vista takes forever on boot up and why Vista has problems with programs, I will be taking a closer look at the other problems Vista is having. With all this information you have now, it goes to show that Vista is really not at fault here. It's more of the program manufacturers not being ready or geared towards Vista. Then again, the companies that created these programs were not ready or even knew about Windows Vista 10 years ago. So programs, if you got programs like me that I have from way back when, they're just not going to work. People are not going to support them. They're going to be like, just go out and buy the new one, get the new version, get the new tech support on it, and be done with it. That is the only problem you're going to run into with older programs, other than they're old and they're obsolete and don't work no more, or no good, or something's better out. So, anyways, with this said, I hope you guys figure out a little bit more about Vista. And I'll be covering more about Vista and hopefully touch on the subject of Mac and why I dislike Mac and why I like Mac, and Mac versus Windows OS, and why Vista and Mac are joining, I guess you can say, putting their operating system on their computer. Anyways, I will be posting a new video shortly.